It's the Jack
and Kathy
Show.
Shit Show.
And there we go.
Yeah, how was
okay,
that? Did you like
I
that
think
one?
I think if yeah.
Okay.
Guess what?
Are we recording?
I think so.
All right, so
So we're gonna make this a quick one.
I'd like to point out that wait, no, we got to go back. What are we looking at? Because I
No,
have to look
I
at
was
my
just
hair.
checking.
You know how I always check my hair?
Yeah.
It is such a cute cut that I showered because we demoed what's behind us right now. I showered and went to bed with my hair wet, and it kind of looks kind of cute. I mean,
That's what this is.
Yes. Look,
That's what this
look,
is right now.
This is actually presentable. It's almost better than when I actually put effort into it. So
I
right.
think a theme is maybe you should take
I think this
more
is
showers.
what?
For the peoples who don't know the infrequency.
You
Hi.
love me stinky.
Hi. I love you inside out, upside down, stinky. Well, I do like the smell of your hair after you shower. So, but don't
Tell
do anything
everybody
for me.
where we are.
We are live.
We are live.
We are in our new studio. This is a fake background. We actually did not do any
it's a green
remodeling.
screen.
It's a green screen.
And actually, the structural engineer
I'm telling
needs
you, my ears are still fucked up from COVID.
the structural engineer needs to know what exit to get off on.
Okay, so we've got a structural engineer coming because we were up last night until 1:30 in the morning because we had to demo all the walls behind us for those of you watching so that we could get all the utilities in. And now we got a structural guy coming to make sure that a wall that we feel is okay needs to be definitely okay. So that's a big part of this. I think it's okay looking around.
Well, you know, when you open up the walls of
see stuff.
houses,
Yeah.
you see stuff. They tell
Yeah.
a story, right? And some of the walls had a hot mess behind them.
Yeah.
Go figure.
So we're going to be mindful of the time because we've
Okay,
got Sean,
yes.
the flooring god, coming in.
I know.
Can you move closer?
Check out the
Hi.
photos.
You didn't say your
to
typical-
see-
You didn't say your hi.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, babe.
Sean's coming in 30 to 45 minutes, and our structural engineer will be here in probably 20.
Yeah.
So we're going to make this a quick podcast. We recorded a long one, 2 hours last week with your friend Aaron talking about relationships, and that's going through some massive editing because a lot of it was just long.
bleh.
So out of respect to the show and to Aaron, we want to make sure that's a really good podcast. Everyone's gonna enjoy
there were
listening to.
definitely some really great nuggets in there.
Great
so it's
nuggets.
just about pulling them out and editing them.
So we
we'll
just
work
let the
on that,
camera and mic roll
Yeah.
without any intention just to listen and talk.
Yeah.
So
And in full disclosure, we also let the cocktails roll, and that was probably
Yeah,
part of our demise.
that was definitely part of the demise. And
When
every
we-
once in a while,
when we
gotta
thought
do
we
that.
were more interesting than we really were.
No, we are interesting
No,
to the
okay.
8 people that
To
listen.
ourselves. Yeah.
So we did have a crew at Amy's party, Julie's party.
Yeah.
What's her name? I totally forgot. Amy. Yeah, I got it.
Amy.
So anyone that's new to following us I didn't realize how many people listen to this. I swear I thought it was 8 and it's 12.
Exactly.
So we're doing so well.
It's sweet. It's very sweet.
So what would you like to talk about, my little pumpkin spice latte?
Well, all right. So what we talked about in the car the other day
By the way, is this a
seemed
cool
like a
way
really
to hold
good
the mic like this?
topic. All right. I thought we had limited
Or
time
like
and you were
that,
going to
or
be
like this, or
hold it like a man. All
how
right.
does a man hold it?
You're holding it like a cigar right now or
That's pretty
something. What are you
funny, isn't
doing? Okay.
Good.
Yeah, we had a topic in the car the other day that was prompted. It was about exes and whether or not it's really appropriate when you're in a current relationship to have discussions, contact, text, anything with an ex. And I think you and I are in the same camp on this. But
yeah.
it makes for
Contractor
a
man just
good-
texted you.
good topic. Okay, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So
Well, do you want to lead with it, or do you want to put do you want to put more specifics around this, or do you want to just go for it?
Let's go for
All right,
it.
you go then.
I think that, especially at our age, we've had, since our...
Can I interrupt you real quick? I'm sorry. No, I think at any age. I don't care if you're 24 years old. You could have been dating someone for 5 years.
True. But for us...
oh, I know where you're going. Sorry.
Just, since our divorces and we were in the dating world, some more than others, Jack. And, yeah.
Don't judge me.
Well, okay, but you were divorced longer than I was, so there's a few more ladies that might have your number in their contacts, okay? And than myself.
My God.
But obviously you and I are now in a committed relationship. So the question being, is it appropriate to still, even if one thinks it's benign, even if one thinks, oh no, they're just friends now, it's all good, to entertain texts,
Entertain.
texts or contact or a phone call or an email or anything with your someone from your past, a past relationship.
So you and I talked. I thought I came up with a really cool term called micro connections.
You did.
A podcast ago,
Yes.
like a long time ago,
Yes.
probably 10 or 12 podcasts ago.
It was a good one.
And the context of those micro connections were that in the same way you can have death by 1,000 cuts in a relationship, you can enhance it. Like the Gottman stuff. We just listened to the Gottman stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Which I think is a good thing about how turning towards somebody versus away.
Yes.
And so we had called it micro connections. So you're turning towards someone often.
Yes.
And so you can have those moments of, oh, your hair looks nice. Or
Right.
whatever thing you do towards
Right.
someone, right?
Right.
I also feel you can have disruptive micro connections with someone outside of your relationship that just seeds enough doubt with your partner or enough potential, to what I'm looking for, optimism with someone that's outside.
Yeah.
They may think that there's some door open.
I think it can subtly undermine your current relationship. And, it's a big question someone has to ask themselves. If they are still connecting with a past relationship, ask yourself why. Is there something in the current relationship you're not getting? Are you still, it's not hard to think that maybe you still want that person back, or can we go? Just maybe your ego needs the attention from more than one.
Could we go to something that actually happened to us? I don't remember the exact details, but your old relationship.
Yeah.
Like 4 months into our
dating.
Like right around then, right? Reached out to you. Right?
Yeah.
That is because we can get into it like right now, and I hope no new news comes up between the two of us. Like, a reveal on the podcast.
No.
Which I'm cool with.
I
if
tell
you want
you
to reveal
everything.
stuff, because I don't mind people seeing us reacting real time to our lives, because that's part of this, right? I remember you reached out and told me that if I get the context right, or at least in the general ballpark, they had something happen, or they were thinking of something and thought they'd share that with you. Right? Was that kind of it?
I can't remember exactly, to be honest.
Well, you had said that they had experienced something, and they were just it reminded them of something or something like that, and they want to reach out just to check on something because they saw something that was indicative of things you used to do or something like that.
Yeah.
Was that kind of it?
I can't remember, to be honest. I really, really don't.
But it's ballpark, right?
It's ballpark, but I think it's ballpark. I'm sure it is, because you have a better memory than I do. But that's the thing, like to
instantly caused a reaction here, right?
Yeah,
and do
sure.
you kind of remember what I did at all?
I think we kind of had a topic of conversation just like this.
Yeah.
How it just undermines us.
I remember not the exact words, but the context of you being at first, and this is not to be critical of you, right? This was because you're versus me, you're much more of a bridge builder, I think, by nature. You keep relationship's intact, I'm much more willing to go, see ya. You've served your purpose, or we're not at a same place anymore, right? And I'm okay with saying goodbye to things in a different way than you are. Not a better or worse, just different.
Yep.
And I remember one of the things that came up was, what am I supposed to do if they call me? I said, tell them not to call you anymore.
Right.
Because it's just as much, tell them that you can say if you want to in your words, I appreciate that you have this memory, but that's over. And I'm in a committed relationship right now and I cannot give the perception. So let me just say one thing that's really important for anyone that's listening.
Yeah.
I actually really appreciate that you told me you had that call, because it'd be worse if you didn't tell me.
Agreed.
And if I found it.
Yeah.
Because then I'd start processing how many other times has this happened?
Right.
And I've also asked you, do you hear from anyone anymore?
Yeah.
Because I'm expecting an answer, right?
Yeah.
If I'm feeling insecure, right?
Yeah.
I've said, I'm feeling insecure. Have you heard anyone from anyone? I expect you to say yes or no.
Yeah.
So
and I know you would tell me too. And I have questioned some of the female friendships that
early
you
on,
had in your
especially,
life, 'cause I was like,
loaded with a ton of female friends early on.
Yeah, loaded with a ton of female friends. And I know you are an excellent communicator and you can offer that to your friends, but I'd be lying if I didn't say like, I bet that woman's a little bit interested in you, honey.
Yeah, you felt that way with quite a few. And so I want to go 3 places, and you just made me think of something. Let's wrap up the conversation with the old boyfriend.
Yes.
Because I said...
It made me think of another story.
Yep. Oh, okay, cool. So cross your fingers so you don't forget that one.
Yeah, it's all along the same lines. But before
I remember me saying it is equally your responsibility as it is the other person's.
Yeah.
It's yours to say, you don't have a right to this doorway anymore.
Yeah.
And so it gets up to that topic of, if someone were to come up to you, and it's flattering, like if someone of the opposite sex came up to you and said, hey, I noticed you're not wearing a ring and all that kind of stuff. I told you that I'm looking forward to the day, if that happens to me, to be able to say, you don't stand a chance.
Right.
It can't be, I'm sorry, but I'm in a relationship, because that just leaves a little bit of a door open, right? Instead it's you don't stand a chance. And so I feel with exes, there's a reason it's over.
Yeah.
And you can store that as a memory and you can learn from it. I'm just not a big fan of allowing that to come in, because there's something there then that needs that connection.
I agree. That energy that you are looking for from that other person, and why is that?
And so you can't control them if they reach out to you.
Yeah.
Certainly. All you can say is, you can't reach out to me anymore.
Right.
Because I'm too committed to this other relationship.
Yeah,
and I
it
want
puts up a very distinct roadblock
boundary,
in that conversation. And the story I was going to tell was actually before I met you, when I wasn't dating anybody. I had somebody from my past reach out, and I answered the phone because I had erased them from my contacts even. So I didn't recognize the number. And so I pick it up and say hello.
Sure.
And anyway, end up kind of unbeknownst to me entering in a conversation. And when he followed up again, I succinctly said, even though it wasn't true at the time, I used that I was in a serious relationship, and this wasn't appropriate for me to even continue communicating, even if it's, under the guise of this benign topic of a work related thing, So I even use that as an excuse.
I just feel that, like, for me, anyone I was in a relationship with, blocked. I can't do this anymore.
Yep.
Particularly if there was any level of emotional or intimate stuff, or it was, because a couple of people I've met along the way, they became friends, right? And that was fine.
Right.
So let's then talk about the friendships that I had, because I don't want anyone listening to think that we can't have friends of the opposite sex.
Right.
I could quote some Harry Met Sally movie shit where he says, you can't be friends with someone from the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Like if Key could find some of that clip here, insert here. So, in Harry Met Sally, he says, it's impossible. Men want to bang everybody. And so I've told you before that I do feel that way, that when you start to meet men, particularly new people, know that they're going to have an agenda, particularly watch how they ask questions, right?
Right.
If they start talking about, well, I'm in a relationship right now, but who knows? We're going through a rough patch. That to me is a sign that they're trying to figure out what they can do. That's a navigational ploy.
Yeah.
I believe it. And I'm not a psychiatrist. However, I do have like my friend Aaron.
Yeah.
Very close friend with Aaron and Ron. And Aaron and I have been friends since college. And I think that was one of the relationships that you might have even been like, what's going on? Because we talked quite a bit. Or maybe not Aaron as much.
Not as much. I didn't get that vibe. You know, some of this is really instinctual when your gut goes, something doesn't feel right. And I have to say, I never felt that with Erin. She's so welcoming, and she also, engaged me in a different way. And I could see that she was legitimately happy for you, that you met me and we found each other. And then, of course, I meet Ron and I meet her kids, and we've gone to her house. We've gone on vacation. So all of that is not, and I love that you and Aaron are still so tight and you can be there for each other as a friend. There's nothing threatening there at all, and she's just a gem. She and her husband and her family.
Well, and the other women that you knew who weren't in the category of Aaron, because Aaron and Ron are top shelf, right?
Yep.
And I'm not dismissing the other women that are friends of mine, because I don't want that to be the case.
Right.
I just started to feel that it wasn't respecting us anymore. And so it felt weird to have those relationships in the context outside of you and me.
Yeah.
So I'm much more comfortable if any of those were to reach out to me now to actually pick up the phone with you. Right?
Yep.
Meaning we're a package deal
I would
that
hope
way.
So. Yeah.
So maybe I'm wrong, and maybe if a professional were listening to this, they would have a different point of view, or say there's some, I don't know, insecurity or something.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way though,
I would say in general, if somebody is staying connected and engaging an ex while they are in a current relationship, and that current relationship has no idea about that connection, it's a time to check in and say, is this, because that would feel like, think if you're the current relationship, how,
well, we could, I don't want to try to
unless you have an
role play in a
open
weird
relationship,
way.
unless
Well,
both.
I can't. I get
Well,
people do it.
some people do.
I know,
and,
I can't.
And
I
if
can't.
you've agreed that we're going to date
agree.
each other, but also date other people, and whatever that means,
That's right.
then more power to you. It's about being honest, really. And if all parties are cool, then what are you going to do?
For
right?
sure.
We're grown ass
I mean,
adults.
it's
so
not our thing.
Just to have the information, though, I think is respectful to the other person.
Well, if you saw me carrying on in an Instagram chat with someone,
Carrying on?
well, just talking to a female that maybe would you feel uncomfortable if you saw that? I know I
like
would.
somebody from your past?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
I know I would.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. Even if it was someone, I mean, would you feel uncomfortable if, let's say, we're at a work function and I happen to meet a woman and she's relatively attractive and she's single? And next thing you know, she's texting me back and forth.
About what?
Who knows? but
Unless she had like a work reason or something, I would, my radar would go up for sure.
See,
and it's funny because I don't really consider myself a jealous person. And, but I think that it would still make my radar go up.
I think I told you we were at the Packers game and there were a couple of pretty drunk girls on the bus, and they were being
on a Packers bus.
Yeah,
what?
and they were being
How could that be?
awfully gregarious, and you weren't even there.
Yeah,
They kept coming up to me. It was
Yeah.
making the situation uncomfortable, and at one point because my way is not the best way, right? I was like, why don't we take our drunk ass and go hang out with somebody else?
Because you said that.
Yeah, but you often say that when I get this badass look, it looks like I'm going to beat the shit out of somebody.
Yes.
So I think I'm much more passionate about this topic where, hey, I don't feel like hanging out with you, right? I'm in a committed relationship. You're flirting like crazy now. You're getting awfully friendly. And I think that's where ego gets involved. And if you were I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. You weren't even there.
Yeah.
And I felt, I don't need this circling back to her. I know it sounds a weird excuse. I don't need anyone thinking that I'm available ever. Right. And I don't view it as in an odd way. Maybe I'm getting really preachy right now. Because one thing I know you like about me is how I have principles.
Principles, yes. You are a highly principled person, and that can, some people I think don't understand it, but I see that from you, and I have great respect for it.
Well, that's why
I love that about you.
And my method isn't, I don't believe the right approach to these women was, thank you, I appreciate it, but it's really making me uncomfortable. I felt the right approach was, can you take your drunk ass someplace else, please? Not just get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me you're invading my life.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just feel if you start engaging people, you never know what possibility could happen. And I just feel it's so disrespectful to the other partner.
Yeah.
And I've often said to you, if I ever feel like we're not connecting anymore, and vice versa, I've said for you to say the same thing, I'd rather you'd say to me, I'm finding myself attracted to other people right now. And that means something's happening in our relationship.
Right.
I've not done anything. I'm struggling here. And I'm recognizing that I'm finding myself being attracted to somebody.
Wouldn't that be?
Well, I expect that of us.
Yeah.
But that requires, in my mind.
I wonder if there's anybody out here that has had that conversation.
I think it's a fuck ton brave thing to say.
Any four of our listeners would, if they. We have 8? Oh my gosh.
Don't you think that's a brave thing to say?
It would be a very brave thing to say. And I like to, it's easy for me to sit here in this relationship with you that I love and I'm committed to, and you're it for me.
Oh, you're the shit, babe.
You're the bomb.
We haven't said an F word yet, I don't think.
Fuck. All right.
That wasn't inspiration. I was hoping to not put the E for explicit once.
Whoops.
That was great. Fuck.
Just throwing it in there because it's such a good word. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine having to have that conversation, and I don't want to ever imagine it, and I don't think I will be imagining it. Because
do you agree
rock
with me?
and
Do you agree with me?
This. I want this to work, you and me.
Well, do you agree with me on this? There's always going to be someone else out there that's attractive for any reason, right? There's always going to be somebody out there. I mean, physically, whatever. There's going to be somebody out there. I just feel that if you're leaning into that to whatever degree, micro connections, microly, or majorly, right?
Yeah.
Man, you got to check yourself fast.
Yeah.
And that's where self-awareness comes in, because it's impossible to think, this is going to sound so fucked up. But, we joked around about movie stars and all that kind of stuff. Oddly, most of the people I would put on my hall pass are men. Daniel Craig. Who's that kid who's married to... that I love, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
So it's not impossible to think that there are other people out there that have some level of attraction, right?
Right.
That's not it for me. Like, right. I think it's important for the people to hear this. We're taking on a fuck ton of shit in the 16 months we've been together. This is a lot.
It sure is.
And we have different styles in doing things, and we're learning from one another. We had a tough day yesterday.
We did.
Right?
We did.
I mean, we were both crying because we weren't getting along.
Yeah, we had a heart-to-heart on the porch because we had a moment.
I wasn't the nicest when I was getting frustrated by the work we were doing, And I just needed to be able to, you and I are both very independent.
Mm-hmm.
You're Aries and I'm a Sag. And a Sag is like, fuck this, I'm on my own. And Aries is like, we're going to do it this way, right? We know that about each other.
I don't think
Yes, you are.
like
Stop
that.
it. We are. We're both that way. And I got so frustrated with you that I'll say it. Can I say it for the podcast? I say
Sure.
it? It's like, get out of the room. You got to get out of here right now. I can't have this. You're distracting me from getting this shit done. And this is a lot of hard work. And that was mean as fuck. And it turned into a whole bunch of things. Not bad. It wasn't a snowball effect of you do this.
No, we stayed on topic,
We
but
did.
we really talked it out, and I learned how my behavior led into your,
And I've got
that
to be better.
moment.
And I've got to be better at managing my reaction to it. Right. So why I brought it up and why we're talking about it now, it's going to make me cry. I swear to God. Just because I sat on the porch and I started crying. That I said, I want to go through these tough times with you.
Yeah.
That I didn't feel that there was something wrong in our relationship at that point. It's we've got to get better. Because I'm so committed to what we're doing together. And then of course we start laughing, going, we're taking on so much shit. Like we're the dumbest couple on the planet. We're not when they say go slow, get to know one another.
Nope.
Second date, we basically moved in. Let's buy a house after knowing each other for 6 months.
Yeah, we did that.
Oh, and let's remodel it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I moved from Illinois.
We have to remind each other, and we do this.
We do.
We say team us. I want the choices in this home. I want the choices as we move through the world and interact with other people to be, putting this relationship first and making it a priority.
Yeah.
And I think that then to circle back and tie to where we started, with our first topic, when you engage, excuse me, when you're engaging another person, that behavior is oftentimes not team us. And if if that's the case, there's a real check-in. Like,
That's right.
where is my head in this? What do I need to face? And do I have the strength to face it?
Yeah.
And I am terrible at having uncomfortable conversations. Terrible at it. I avoid them at all costs. But I have had them, and I know I'm capable of having them. And I will tell you now that they are never as bad as they seem. And God, it's good to get it off your chest.
Yeah, and I have no problem with hard conversations.
Yeah.
Right? I don't look forward to them. I don't want to be perceived that I like them.
Right.
I'm just much more comfortable with knowing that whether they like, we had a branding meeting on today, right? We were talking about, well, what if certain types of clients don't like what we're presenting? And my answer was, and I can say this because I'm comfortable saying this, fuck them. And I don't mean that in a mean way. If they don't like what we have to offer for the business, then we're not right for them. As opposed to, bummer, they're not right for us.
Right.
Think about how we got to meet one another and why we're so strong is because we had people that ultimately weren't right for us. We were hopeful that they were.
Yeah, we had a podcast on that, I think, too, or at
That's
least
right.
touched on it, how those previous relationships
How
serve
about
a
that
purpose.
for timing?
Okay,
You
we're
wrapped
out.
it up perfectly. Peace out. Thanks,
Peace
everybody.
out, people.